Hello, Katie here from Katie's World again. I apologize. My video stopped recording all of a sudden. So now we have a part 2 of this video unless I figure out how to edit. So I'm new to the YouTube thing, so that's my next step, figuring out how to edit these videos. So I apologize that there's a second part on this super quick technique here. But anyway, where we left off. Okay, so we've taped down our hinge. Now we're gonna, right in the center, we're gonna fold. So we've got 2 tapes and 2 tapes. And some people ask me, okay, why are we doing double tape? Well, this is my personal preference. I like to do for 2 reasons. One, it just makes it really easy rather than saying, okay, put the tape here, skip this tape, skip this space, put the tape here, skip this. Okay, that's one reason. But it's so much easier just to say, put the tape in all of them, fold it, okay? But actually my biggest reason is because it is not going to come apart. So if you just have tape to cardstock, if you don't have tape in all the spaces, it's going to be stuck, but you can kind of try to pull it apart. And for me, if you put tape to tape, there is no pulling that apart. And so for me, for my album, your hinge is just major. You don't want your book to fall apart. So that's why I do the double tape. I think that's very important. You don't want to slack or cut corners on your hinge. You're going to put all this time and effort into your book. You want to make sure that it stays together. So that's my reasoning for doing tape in all the spaces. So what we're going to do is just fold it right in the middle, right on that score line. Open it up, and that's just so you can train it. Get it ready so it'll fold correctly once you've got all that tape off, because you don't want to have it fold crooked, because like I said, once it's stuck, and you're gonna have to start over if it's not correct. So now I removed the tape from all 4 spaces, fold it back down. Okay, now I'm gonna fold back. So you've got 2 score lines that you can see. The 2 are the hinge, okay? So you're gonna just fold it back just like this. So there's your hinge. When you add your page, you're only going to glue it up to that middle score line. Now, this is where the hidden hinge plus binding system comes in that Kathy King has designed for us. You want your page only to go halfway. If it goes all the way, it's not going to turn as well when you're looking at it. But if you only go halfway, if you only go up to that score line, that's why it's the plus. Your page is going to stop right in the middle, and it's going to be more likely to lay flat. And it's really nice. It's wonderful. So we're going to take the 3/8 inch tape, and what I like to do is just get all of this out of the way. So I put it up here, and I'm just going to add my tape on this first half, this outer edge part on the hinge, okay? You don't want the tape to hang over. Do not have the tape hang over. Do not let the tape hang over. But I am going to do it closest to the edge, because you don't want it touching that score line either. Because you don't want any tape sticking out this way because your page is going on. You don't want any tape sticking out this way, because then it'll be exposed in your book. So I always put my tape closest to the edge, but it's pretty much in between the score line and the edge. But I just focus on getting it close to the edge. Then I'm going to just trim it off here. And then I'm going to do the other side. Okay, now I like to use my bone folder and just really smooth that down. Make sure it's really good and on there. Okay, so now we're going to trim the ends. Very, very important. You do not cut all the way down. Okay, so remember, the whole thing is your hinge, but your page is only going to go up to that middle score line. So you're going to take your scissors, okay, and you're going to put it at that middle score line. Just want to make sure I am in camera here so you can see that. Put it right, and I'm kind of pressing it onto my finger just so I can kind of steady my hand. Put it right on that score line. and just cut off at an angle, just about a 45-degree angle. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're not going to see it. It just has to be trimmed at an angle so that your page can slide over it. Okay, I'm going to turn it over and do the same thing over here, putting it right at that score line, trimming it off. Okay, it looks just like that. Okay, so now this is prepped for your page. Okay, so now we want to put this in our book. So if you watched the previous video of how to build the cover, we're going to be putting this in that cover. Okay, so we want to put tape on the back. And I've got my handy dandy 6-inch roll that I love, and this will work perfect for it. So I'm going to peel this off like this, and I'm going to go ahead and trim it. I just want to make sure it's a little bit bigger on both ends so I don't accidentally, I want to cover it all the way basically. Make sure I don't leave any cardstock exposed. So the easiest thing for me when I'm doing the hinge is to leave the tape backing down and the sticky face up. I'm trying to make sure it's on camera for you. And then I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to start down here. And I'm going to place it. I'm trying to do it right to the edge. If it hangs over it's better that it would hang over the edge than having not enough tape, if that makes sense. Because you can trim off tape. But this tape is 6 inches and this comes to 6 inches. So it's perfect. So I'm trying to make it perfectly on there. So I'm just going to press it down, making sure there's no bubbles. Do both sides. You want to train that hinge to go back and forth, just like when you're looking at your book. Okay. Perfect. So now I'm going to take, you can use scissors, but I find this part easier with the X-Acto. And what I always do is I push down my corners, especially because I don't want any of that tape pulling back. Okay. Push down the edge. Okay, so I'm going to sit down for this. Okay, so I'm just going to place my blade against the cardstock there. Be careful not to slip and cut that cardstock. It's getting stuck on something. Okay, I'm just trying to cut into the cardstock, I think. All right, on the other side. Perfect. There's a little bit showing here. I don't know if I can get it with my blade. It's not very much. No. Okay. So there you go. Edge to edge coverage for the hinge. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in the book. So here's our book. And right now for this particular no, it doesn't matter. I was going to say it doesn't matter what's the front and what's the back because we're just putting the hinge on. But yeah, for this one, it doesn't matter anyway. It's the same. So I see a little bit of overhang right here. I don't know if you can see that. I just want to, it's just bugging me. I want to trim that off. It probably honestly doesn't even matter because it's going to get covered with a lining. So I don't know why I'm even bothering with that. Okay. So before removing the tape backing, I recommend just laying it down, looking at it, visualizing, seeing exactly where it's going to go. What these lines are for that I had you put in there, those are guidelines, okay? That's just a guide to help you line it up, okay? To help you, because you're going to line up these lines with the crease, with where it's going to crease, okay? So this has to be right on that spine. And you want to center it top to bottom. So you want the same width here that you have down here. So you're looking at quite a few spots at the same time. You want to make sure the lines all line up and you want to make sure you're centered. Okay, so let's go for it. And I'm standing, it helps to stand up when you do this too, at least for me. Okay, and any excess tape, I just kind of push back with my fingers. But like I said, this is a hinge. It's going to get covered. Except for if it's on the top or the bottom, that's not going to get covered. So I would definitely look at that. But the ones on the sides is going to get covered with paper. Okay, so you want to pull it tight. Pull, pull, pull. Okay, so that you get no bubbles. Again, I'm going to look at the top and the bottom. I'm going to make sure it's centered. Then I'm going to look at my lines and make sure that the lines are lining up so that I know it's straight. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to press it down really good. Another thing you can do, because these pages are pretty heavy, the ones I'm going to be putting in here, which I probably should have done, but I think it'll be okay. Another thing I like to do if I'm worried that the hinge will come off, because it shouldn't come off because you have really heavy duty tape, but sometimes those pages are just really heavy with lots of photos and cardstock, that it might start to pull away. If that happens, I've gone in before, and it's very rare that does happen, but if it happens, or if you're worried that it might happen, you can actually go in with, I use this, the Designer Dries Clear Liquid Glue, and I'll just, you have the tape, but then also put this glue on the back, and that helps too. I've had that. I've had to, it's come apart before. I have one really large album, and that's happened. Just because the album was so heavy, it was just really pulling on it, and I just kind of dripped some glue in there and pressed it down, and it was fine. So that could happen, but I think we'll be okay with this one. So anyway, now to fold it, take your bone folder and just press into that, just carefully. You don't want to puncture the cardstock, but you also want it to fold inward. You don't want it to, you don't want to fold it and have it for some reason poke out. So I just kind of gently, as I'm folding the book closed, just pressing in gently with the bone folder. Okay, there we go. So we have our cover and we have our hinge. So the next video is just going to be putting in our lining pieces. Okay, so I just want to thank you so much for watching. Again, please check out my shop. The link is below. Please like this video if you enjoyed watching today. If you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear from you. Comment below. And please subscribe to my channel. And mind blank. And don't forget to click that bell for notifications. Thank you so much again for watching, and have a great day.